Gamarjova, thank you. I just found out that is how you say hello in Georgian, and I love it. And for those who don't know me, I'm Pablo Stanley. I am a designer. I've been a designer for maybe for far too long. And like many of you, I've been surviving on a diet of pixel perfection and eternal revisions and doodles and lots of doodles. And honestly, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. Now I'm the founder of Mucho, a tool that helps you design with AI. And the other one, Lumi, which is a collection of free stock photos all made with AI, a lot of AI. And you might expect me to maybe talk about AI today. I mean, like, everyone is talking about AI, so maybe it will be a little bit irresponsible not to talk about that. Well, I'm not gonna do that. But in fact, today I'm gonna talk about myself, about me. And I will talk about my journey in design leading up to this point when I am a captain of the industry. I'm not. But really, up to this point where I'm playing actually with AI or the little robots, as I like to call them. And so at the end, I will get to talk a little bit about AI. But I won't bore you with all the typical AI doomsday messages like, oh, AI is gonna take your jobs, or on the other side where it won't take your job, it will empower you. AI is a tool, it's a superpower. Oh, but remember, you need to adapt. I don't know, those are the messages that you hear on both sides, right? And on my side, I'm a techno-optimist, but again, I won't come preach on you like that. And I'm sure you probably already heard all this kind of stuff where, yes, AI, I can tell you on the other side that, yes, it will disrupt our jobs, and yes, it's also an incredible tool, and that enhances our skills, and it takes them to the next level. And sure, it might one day overthrow us and turn us into batteries, but let's not get stuck on that. Today, I want to talk about the Dunning-Kruger effect and share three, not one, not two, three instances where I've been the victim of it. For those who don't know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is and are feeling a little bit lost, I will get to explaining in just a minute. But the three stories. The first one is about when a group of friends and I were naive enough to think that we could fix the healthcare problem in America. Healthcare problem in America. I mean, you probably heard of it. Easy, right? The second is about me thinking that being a CEO and raising funds would also be a breeze, just like super easy too. And I was like, sure, millions of dollars will just fly our way because we deserve it. I deserve it. And the third, a current endeavor, a current thing we're doing, and it's about how recently our team and I believe that building with AI or building an AI design app will be also a piece of cake. And well, spoiler alert, we were wrong, very, very wrong. But first, let's dive into the Dunning-Kruger effect. The decay effect, as I like to call it, is this cognitive bias where people who kind of suck at something actually think they're pretty good at it. In other words, it's about dumb people like boldly attempting things that are way out of their league. The cool thing is that it even has a graph. And you can see that on the x-axis, you have competence, how good you are at something, how good you really are at something. And on the y-axis is, well, the confidence, how good you think you are. So you can see that in the beginning, when you don't know anything, that's when your competence is at its lowest. Well, the competence is at its lowest, but also your confidence is super high. You think you know it all. And the less you know, the more you think you know. And if you're dumb enough, like I have been many times, you might even reach the peak of Mount Stupid. But then, super quickly, reality hits, and you see that, well, you start learning just a little bit more, and your confidence drops instantly, and you're down in the valley of despair, suddenly realizing that, oh, dude, I don't know anything. But, well, slowly, if you keep going, improving and learning, then you start becoming more competent, and eventually your confidence starts to rise again until you reach the enlightenment and the sustainability. And, yeah, so let's have a final look at this graph. The beginning, you don't know anything, but you feel like you know a lot. And then you just know just a little bit more, and everything goes to poop. Well, I've been that not so smart person on the left many times, and I'm pretty sure you are already thinking of someone like that too. Perhaps you had one of those managers who think they know everything about design, where for them everything seems so simple and it's just a bunch of boxes. And text is easy, right? And we might laugh at them or get mad at them, and you might say, oh, they just don't understand anything about design, but they think they know it all. But the thing is that I can guarantee that all of us at some point have experienced the Dunning-Kruger effect at least once. And we've all thought that we knew or we understood philosophy because we read the Wikipedia description about existentialism. We're like, oh, I'm a philosopher now. Or at some point we thought we were coders or developers when we figured out how to make a hover state using CSS. And, oh, look at that button. I'm a developer. Maybe you have said, I'm a hacker. So let me tell you about 3 times I found myself, again, at the peak of Mount Stupid. The first was about that time, when I was telling you when we thought we would solve healthcare in America. And we were these young, idealistic devs and designers, and we're starting something called Carbon Health. We're there at TechCrunch or something like that, Crunchbase, I don't know. No, Crunchbase, yeah, like a conference or something. We're presenting our product. We're very excited. And we saw the healthcare problem in the US and thought, dude, we can fix this. It just needs some coding and some design, and that's it. That's what doctors need. We were typical San Francisco tech bros, and all we need to do is just like give them a fancy medical report and an app for data collection and just a calendar to just schedule stuff, and that's it. Problem solved, right? But again, we were, like always, we were really wrong, and we didn't consider that healthcare is just like tangled in a web of regulations, and doctors don't need another app. They already have a ton of apps that they hate. And we were just coming with our new app. It's just like, look at this. This is so cool. And what they really need is they need time to take care of their patients. And patients, on the other side, they don't need a fancy calendar. They already have a calendar. What they need is to, well, understand their prescriptions. Like, is the insurance going to play nice when they're going to pay their bills. Also, they get lab results and they get all these numbers and all these things that they don't understand. So, like, all that stuff was very confusing for them. And now they need to know not just that, but also, like, am I going to be here in the waiting room forever, or am I going to be able to do that thing that I wanted to do later? And it's not just about those big things. What do you know about just the little stuff, the little details that were really crucial, like privacy laws and the interactions between drug and labs, or the fact that not, like, just very dumb, but like not everyone can read the prescription labels on just the little things that they give you because, well, they have a tiny font. We didn't think about the nurse, who are the real heroes, who are juggling 5 tasks at once, and they are the real heroes. And the elderly patient who's still trying to figure out how to make a video call, because we're like, oh, dude, just like put a video call, you're gonna call to the doctor, it's going to be so easy. But like for a lot of people, it's just like, wait, what? How do you even do that? And so we pretty soon found ourselves in the down there, remember, the valley of despair. And we thought we knew it all, but in reality, we didn't know anything. But that didn't stop us. What did we do? We decided to open our own clinic, which is the opposite of what a typical tech startup would do. Tech startups, I mean, we all make apps and UIs, and that's what excites us, and all the interactions and all that stuff. Not a freaking clinic. So, I don't know, like if we realized that if we wanted to truly understand the real problems faced by patients and care providers, we had to, well, dive in deep and really understand. So we built a practice right next to our office. We had our office first, like we're all there, and it's like, dude, like we have this empty space next door. Let's just build a clinic there. And not just that, we also brought a doctor onto our product team to guide us on all the things we were just clueless about. We brought him as one of our co-founders. And we'd often go to the doctor with our crazy ideas and just ask him, like, can we do this? And most of the times he would just like say, no, you can't. Like, that's insane. That's probably illegal too. So it was just like back to the drawing board, and having those tools really close to us and just like finding out quickly that we didn't know anything, like really helped us to get better, right? And well, slowly we started learning more and more. And again, having a clinic next to our office meant that we could quickly absorb information the doctors or receptionists share with us. And we could rapidly prototype something. Hold on, is that me? No. Sometimes it's me. And just show it to the doctors, get their approval, and just ship it, you know? And it's really fun. Now, Carbon Health has over 100 clinics across the US, and is one of the top urgent and primary care providers in the country. But it was our initial ignorance that gave us that confidence to get started, to dive in. If we had been aware of all the difficulties from the start, we might have convinced ourselves that it was too risky, that it was too complicated, you know, like it's too difficult to change the system, man. It's just like you're just going against the grain. And we might have thought, it's not worth it. But we didn't. So now, story number 2. A few years ago, we started Blush. And Blush is a tool that lets anyone add illustrations to their designs from different artists to any of their creations. And this time, not only was I the designer, but I was also the CEO, and I was responsible for raising funds. And luckily, we got our first check when we just starting. We got it actually from the CEO of Carbon Health. They gave us our first check, and it's like, okay, I believe in you, Pablo. Go do your thing. So we quit our jobs. Like I was working at a company that was paying me, I don't know, it was like one of those San Francisco jobs, so I was getting paid really well. And I convinced two developers to do the same. And they were paid, I think, way more than me, actually. And we decided to go all in. And I think having that first check, like, boosted our confidence, you know, and it made me feel like Mr. CEO or Senor CEO in my case. And I thought, oh, dude, like, fundraising, easy, dude. Like, millions are going to pour in. I mean, you see the news, like all the different people that raise just millions and stuff. It's like, oh, that, like, everybody does it, right? And I was like, come on, VCs, shower us with the money. I'm Senor CEO. Well, I was so wrong. It was just like rejection after rejection. Hard not to take each one of those rejections like personal, you know? I was a failure. With every no, it was like, damn, dude, like it was, they weren't saying no to the problem that we're trying to solve. They were saying no to me, and that felt pretty bad. And there were calls also where I would just like made a fool of myself, being asked questions about like about fundraising that I couldn't answer, but I would still respond with the most absurd answers. So just like, hey, how much revenue are you going to make in a year? And I would like say, oh, just millions. And I will look, I will see their confused faces like, okay, maybe millions wasn't the right answer, Pablo. Billions, I would say. It was like, we're like, Pablo, how are you gonna do that? And I was like, I don't know. And I mean, you probably heard about the imposter syndrome. Well, I had the worst case of that. But this time, I was a genuine imposter. I didn't have a single clue about what I was doing. And it got to a point where I had zero self-confidence, and like I was doubting every move I made, and constantly wondering if I was going to mess things up again. And I don't know, I was also just like, it felt really bad because I had convinced two engineers, really well-paid engineers, to come do this with me, and I wasn't sure if they were going to get paid next month. So there was a lot of pressure. But that wasn't the end of it. Like after that, like then came the part about, well, hiring, forming a team, creating a culture. We thought creating a culture too, just like easy. People are not complicated, right? They're all cool. They're all chill. We're wrong again. And like we soon realized that not everybody was ready to work remotely, and it's also hard for beginners because they lose the ability to interact with others and learn quickly. And we didn't have the time for that stuff, and it always felt bad, and we were just getting slowed down, but at the same time feeling bad for it. Anyway, also just like working remotely, realized like all decisions get taken in Slack in super long threads that become just like digital black holes, and where all requested information just like vanish inside them, and we didn't know how to manage all that stuff. And you try implementing productivity tools that somehow they're supposed to make you more productive, but they will usually make you more like slower and less productive. Notion, Airtable, and now with Google Sheets and Slack and Figma and FigJam and Canvas in Slack. That's a new thing. And the culture, man, like you aim for cool vibes, but some days it just feels like more like I'm in an episode of The Office, and I realized that I am Michael, and I'm super cringe. But like I don't realize it only until like I get home, and it's like, oh, dude, like that was very cringe, Pablo. And I don't know, I was totally unprepared for all the complexities that come with being a founder. So I had to humble myself, be ready to learn and listen and be open to feedback and all that good and warm and fuzzy feelings inside. But it was just like from meeting to meeting and understand that what I was doing wrong, what I could improve. And remember, I was talking about fundraising. Like after months of just like getting no and no's, we suddenly started getting some positive responses, just like a couple. They were like, hey, yeah, I believe in you. I believe in this. Here's some money. And I don't know, it was pretty cool that suddenly like some people who were not our friends, whenever you're raising money, they say that you have to start with friends and family, but it's really more like friends and fools. Because you have to be a fool to give money to people who are just starting on something like this. So, who were not one of those friends and fools, they would give us money, just like suddenly, oh, damn, okay, maybe we are actually doing the right thing. And I have a conspiracy theory. I think VCs have like a WhatsApp group or something, because as soon as we got those 2 more checks, like everybody wanted to invest again. And it's like, oh, dude, like guys who would have told us no, like suddenly they were calling us like, hey, so are you still doing that thing? Oh, we want to know more. Like, here's some money. It's like, hey, what's going on? Like, I don't know. Like, I suppose like all this thing just like works with FOMO or something. So suddenly we had, hey, everybody wanted in, and it was pretty cool. It was wild. But again, honestly, not knowing how much, how difficult it was going to be in the beginning, like push us to go for it, you know? It was that initial ignorance that gave us that conviction to take that first step, to take the leap, and to quit our jobs in the middle of a pandemic. Now, the third story, working with AI. See, I told you I was gonna talk about AI. In November, like just this November, we decided to create our own little design tool using AI. We had worked already with AI for some time, but it sucked. So we were like, oh, dude, this is not going anywhere. But then suddenly it got really good. It was like, wait, what happened? Like suddenly it was just like actually doing really good work. So we're like, okay, maybe this is the time to use this thing to create something. So our goal was to create the design assistant that all of us designers and creatives deserve. And well, I suppose who has used ChatGPT? Who hasn't used it? I mean, we've all used it, right? Who hasn't used it? I want to actually see. I love it. No one. Okay, cool. So, well, when you have played with it, and who here has played with generative images? Just like Midjourney or Aura or that stuff. Okay, cool. Most of you. Okay. So, it's really easy, right? You just like type something and then it like spills out something that is pretty good. Well, you just tell it that, and then it like you can even ask it to code you a little game, and it does a pretty good job. And you've all seen the tweets. AI can now. Is that an alarm or something? Okay, I get to. Oh, good? Yeah? I swear it's not part of the presentation. That sounds important. No, we shouldn't run. We shouldn't get out of here. Okay. Let's just try to ignore it. Okay. We're getting invaded because of our talk here. Okay, that was a bad joke. Okay, you've all seen the tweets. AI can now. I don't know if I should continue. You can hear it, right? It's not just me.
AI is revolting. They just see something in this.
Hey, it's gone. Yeah? Cool. Thank you. So it's like an alert or something that happens? No? Because, okay. In Mexico, we have seismic alerts, and they sound like that, where they tell us, like, run, run, but do it calmly. And it's like, no, it's that the earth is shaking. Anyway, you've all seen the tweets. AI can now mimic your voice, and now it can answer your emails, and it can do your laundry. So we thought, hey, dude, like, we can use this thing, and how hard can it be to make these little AI robots to do our design work? And there I was in Amsterdam. Look at my face. Oh, my God. I kind of look okay. Okay, so there I was in Amsterdam and with a coworker, and I was supposed to be in vacation, but I don't know, like, who else here usually uses their vacation for a side project? Well, no? Okay. I usually work more in vacations. So it was like my vacation, I was in Amsterdam, I was like, dude, like, we should do something about this AI thing. And he's a developer, so he was also excited, and we just started coding something, and I was like, dude, like, we could just start small, you know? Let's create something that just does landing pages, and how hard can that be? And you know what? It wasn't actually that hard. It was, in a week, we had a working prototype. In just 1 week, we had something. But that's the thing, right, about the Dunning-Kruger effect. In the beginning, it's just like, oh, it feels so easy. And also, we kind of cheated because, like, it was actually using a lot of templates that I made. So all of those, like, templates and color palettes, I had made them, so the robot was actually using stuff that I made. It was doing all what AI was actually doing, which was the images and the text, not the actual design. So we were using PAPS GPT. But hey, you gotta fake it till you make it, right? However, right after that, we said, okay, that was easy. That was a good start. We did it. Piece of cake. Now, let's allow AI to handle all the other stuff, like layout, composition, and typography, picking colors, creating sections, creating flows, like everything that we designers can do. Like, this little robots, I'm pretty sure that they can do it. It's gonna be easy. Just sprinkle some AI stuff on it. That's how I talk to my developers. Just add some AI. Just add it. It's easy. Well, we quickly found out that it was not going to be that easy. It was really hard. The big problems we found right away, it was the cost. It's really expensive. Also, the speed, it's just slow. It's so slow. And the quality, it creates some pretty horrible stuff. You can see it in my face there, what I would do. And I don't know, designers, I can tell you this, that by default, the robots are not that good designers. They're not that great. So, hey, I don't know if that gives you a little bit of peace. But I'm not going to bore you with the first two problems, which are very interesting just by themselves, about the cost and also about the speed. But I think here, the most interesting problem is about the quality. With quality, we mean like good-looking designs that are also accurate, and accurate to your prompt, and also accurate to your brand. So, well, first and foremost, you could say that AI is a little bit rebellious, which is not a very comforting thought. Um, AI just does what it wants. And when you're working on a product, when you program an app, when you need code, you expect your code to be reliable and not to surprise you. You want it to do exactly what you ask it to do. But with large language models, it's really frustrating trying to make them follow your instructions. Even just positive and negative examples don't always work. And like, if they're consistent at something, it's at being inconsistent. They always give you something different. And sometimes it just ignores you, which is again, very frustrating. Just if you think of AI or these like large language models as people in your team who you work with, imagine them as team members who just don't follow rules or your instructions and who forget if you ask them to do something and they just forget or just don't do it. And that's not very helpful, right? And this unpredictable nature of LLMs and GPT just can drive you nuts. So you often find yourself trying to different forms of the same instruction, the same thing. You want the same result. And you probably all heard of prompt engineering, right? Prompt engineering, no? Well, prompt engineering is basically asking this thing just like, hey, please, can you do it this way? Didn't work. Hey, pretty please, with a cherry on top, could you do it this way? I'm not even kidding. Like this, sometimes that's how you have to write it. You have to ask, please, could you do it this way instead? And I don't know, like it's kind of weird that you have to use this natural way of talking to it. And you end up going through, I don't know, this 12 stages of grief before AI starts getting what you mean. Also, sometimes it has limitations, which you probably don't see it because it feels like it just like does anything, but it has limitations too. For instance, on the output size. And I know that sounds a little bit boring, the output size, but it's pretty much just like how much it gives you, the amount of stuff it gives you. Well, that might be small or not what you ask for, and you request long code, like a long answer, because hey, you're creating a website, and it would just like give you short code. And if you push it to give you more, like no, come on, give me more, it just might enter into a loop and just repeat the same thing or the same task, and you don't realize it, and then it gets really expensive again, and then you realize later what at the end of the month when you get a bill, it's like, oh my God, this thing was just like going in a loop. So you also probably heard of AI having hallucinations. Well, and you might think that's a good thing, right? Because it's supposed to be creative. It's supposed to be a designer. You want it to be creative and come up with weird stuff. But not when that weird stuff includes things like more than 5 fingers in one hand, or people with 3 legs, or just sci-fi elements that just appear suddenly in your image. So it's been tougher than we initially thought, but we're getting really good at it now. So that's the scary part now. We're building our own fine-tool model, and we're setting up like an infrastructure to collect and annotate data. Usually do like a yes and no, like it's pretty basic, it's just that. And it's just like a cycle of training. It's so weird because like you start realizing, remember I was telling you that you have to talk to it like if it was like a real person? Then you start realizing that this works like a real team too. Like how we do it on our end, when you talk to the robot, you as a user, this was actually not even part of the presentation, but I like to talk about this. You talk to it, and you're actually talking to one robot, which is almost like the product manager of the other little robots that are in the back. And the other robots have specific tasks, and they're specialized on typography, on color palettes, on layout, on composition, and some of them are like on copywriting and on imaging. But there's not just one robot that does it all. There's one robot that controls the other robots. So we realized that, and we started like naturally calling them like, oh, this is going to be the creative director, this is going to be the graphic designer, and it was like, oh shit, we're creating a little agency inside. It's like a design studio in the back that is actually doing everything, but just like with little robots doing different things, different tasks. Anyway, it was not, initially we didn't realize that, only until later. Like we realized that it was just like a little, we're actually recreating the design process. But it was until, it was not obvious. It was obvious once you realized that that's what you did, but in the beginning it wasn't. And even just like how you get it started, there's this cycle of training, evaluating, and just like, hey, going back again. And it's like, again, oh, this is like onboarding a new designer in your team, and you teach that designer about everything. So it's weird because it does feel like these things are alive. But right now, they're like little stupid kids. They're just like running around. They're like the interns that don't know what they're doing, but they're really eager to do it. They want to do it all. It's like, yeah, I can help you. I can do it all. And then it's like you give it some task, and it's like, yeah, I'll do it right now. And then they do something else. But that's how it feels. And it was really frustrating in the beginning because we thought it was so capable of everything, and we realized suddenly, oh, no, these are just little kids. Very smart little kids. What was I saying? So anyway, like now that we realize all of that, now Mucho can do some pretty cool stuff. It can create designs that actually look good, and it understands what you need. And if you're very specific with what you need, then it's even better. And today, it doesn't only do landing pages. Remember, that's how we started. That was a good start because it was just like easy. Like a landing page is just, there are so many landing pages out there, and people usually want to create a landing page. They don't need it, and they don't use it, but they want a landing page. And so we're like, dude, like that's how we start. But now it's creating more UIs, like stuff that is more useful, like dashboards and like components. And it also does, it's getting good at portfolios too, and e-commerce sites, and it's also learning new aesthetics. It started only doing like classic corporate design. I should be showing that. Like, why am I showing your drawings? Anyway, you can imagine that. And it's starting to do brutalist designs too, which I know is not as cool anymore, brutalist design, but it's still catching up. By the way, so speaking of brutalist design, guys, like your architecture is insane. Like all this stuff, wow. I don't know. I know that some of this stuff is like from like the Soviet era or something, but it's still really cool. So anyway, I just learned about Soviet Batman. Anyway, hold on. Where is it? Oh yeah, there you go. Apparently it's not like that anymore. Anyway, Mucho. Yeah, it's starting to do graphic design on Figma 2 and social media posts and presentations, and I think you're gonna love it, and you can try it now, and it's becoming a tool that I think if you're starting a new project, if you're iterating on something and you just want to get started, it can get you there. It's not the final thing. It's more like it gets you 60, 70% of the way there. You don't have to do a lot of the initial part. And even I'm a visual designer. I love doing landing pages. That's my favorite part. Even though they're not needed, I will do a landing page. And I love doing that stuff. And this thing just like helps me at least like doing that initial part of the mood boarding, or when you're just like trying different things and you start grabbing things from different places. Like, at least for now, it's been really helpful for that. And I don't know, I'm excited because this will empower you to be faster and more efficient. And by the way, hold on, we just launched on Product Hunt, like right now, like 30 minutes ago. So, no, seriously, like, please grab your phones and go vote. Upvote. I'm not going to move from here until you upvote. Where's your phone? Come on. Hey, you. I see you. You're not. Okay, well, I'll put it at the end again. So going back to the Dunning-Kruger effect, when reflecting on it, if it wasn't for that initial ignorance that really sparked our excitement, we were just like, oh, yeah, let's do this, we might not have even attempted this, because it's really that blissful ignorance and unawareness, and it fuels your motivation, and that gives you that confidence, and makes you feel brave to try new things. And usually the Dunning-Kruger effect, for those who had heard of it, it gets a bad rap, mostly because it's just fun to talk about that initial part of the curve when you're a non-stupid. And it's fun to make fun of people who think they know it all, but they're acting foolishly. It's fun to make fun of them, right? But it takes, I don't know, it takes real fools, like genuine fools, to persist over the long haul, to keep going, even after realizing that they don't know anything, and that the journey is going to be incredibly tough. And eventually, we need the courage to persist after feeling that embarrassment of realizing that we were being ignorant and we're being dumb, and acknowledging that how hard it's going to be. And I don't know, I think we all need a dash of ignorance to kickstart something new, to make us bold, and to embark on new adventures. So if you take anything from this, I just encourage you to embrace a bit of silliness, and to be brave, and don't be afraid, and be okay when you don't know anything, just so you can embark on new adventures. And let's not be too quick also to judge those overconfident people who know little, but instead, I don't know, help them on their path to learning. Because to achieve greatness, sometimes we need to be a bit clueless to give us that necessary push. And Matloba. Yeah, Matloba? Thank you so much. Hey! And I think that's it. Bye-bye.